Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we are going to take a look at the Iron Hands and Raven Guard upgrade stuff. Their supplements are on the way, and to be honest, the Iron Hand stuff especially looks kind of awesome. And we're going to have a look at some of the Ossiarch Bonereaper stuff that's been shown off. Good lord, I struggle with that name quite severely. Ossiarch is not an easy word to say if you're incompetent at speaking like I am. So, first up, the Iron Hands and Raven Guard. So, you may recall, a few weeks ago, I put out a video where I was like, the next ones up will be the Iron Hands and Raven Guard, and their stuff about Black Templars versus Orcs, and how cool is that? And then I put out another video that was conflicting with that. I got more information from the same person saying, actually no, the schedule's changed. Iron Hands and Raven Guard are now going to be last. I did express a certain amount of scepticism in that video as to whether that would be the case or not, because we know that we have the Primaris Iron Father on the way, and so it would make sense for the Iron Hands to be sooner rather than later. Turns out the first batch of information was completely correct, and I was correct to be a little bit sceptical about it, because they are the next ones up. And this is a bit... I'll be honest, the start of this article is like, no one thought that. You didn't think that that was it for the Adeptus Astartes, did you? No, I don't think anyone's thinking that ever. I don't think anyone has had that idea, and since the dawn of just 40k as a thing that exists. But still, you can see that there is some cool upgrade stuff on display in this image specifically, and we'll take a look at, of course, at the actual full-on upgrade sprue that we're getting for Iron Hands and Raven Guard. It makes them look properly Iron Hands. I don't like bare heads, to be honest. I say this every time, but then again, new people arrive all the time. They may not know that I don't like bare heads on models, which is why I say it every time. But I'll settle for like half bionic metal skull heads. I'll take that. A bit less flesh to paint, and if you're gonna have like half your head replaced by metal, you may as well not bother with a helmet, because, I don't know, it has a different aesthetic. It looks better than just some dude's face out in the open. And we do, of course, have some of that for the Iron Hands. As we can see from this image here, I still really like that Iron Father. It looks quality. The only thing I'd change is the claw, but we'll get onto that in a minute. So, as you can see, we've got the Codex supplements for Raven Guard and for Iron Hands, described here as 8-foot tall, armoured, genetically engineered ninjas. No, I'd sort of take that. So they get psychic powers from the Umbromancy discipline, which is obviously going to be stealthy, sneaky. I believe that's the technical term for that school of magic. Look, I've been reading and doing a lot more D&D stuff over the last week whilst I've been away. It's on the brain, I can't get rid of it. And of course the supplement for the Iron Hands as well. I'm not so keen on the cover of the Raven Guard one. Even for a Space Marine, he looks a tad miserable. But you know what? They are brooding. They are dark, so to speak, and so I guess it kind of fits. Although, the actual the actual artwork there, I do quite like. It's just the dude's face, bit sour that expression. If we're honest, the Iron Hands one I like a lot more because he looks like an Iron Hand, which of course means he sort of looks a bit like the Borg as well. So that's always nice. I mean, let's be honest, there is a bit of Borg going on there. It's a good thing. It's not bad. It's not a bad thing, but it does definitely make me think Borg ever so slightly. So, the actual upgrade sprues. So yeah, we've got the data cards and all that stuff, but we're interested in the upgrade sprues. So, these are the Raven Guard ones, and for the most part, they're fine. I quite like them. I like the beaky helmets. The beaky helmets are good. More beaky helmets would have been nice. To be honest, I would have much preferred a good selection of beaky helmets rather than just 2 and 4 the lead singer from the Rasmus. I would have actually preferred more beaky helmets and less emo attack heads, if I'm honest with you. That is partially personal preference, but I also feel like the beaky helmet has got such a iconic thing about it. It's like everyone loves beakies. More beakies would have been great. Only 2 beakies is a little bit disappointing. That being said, I do like the actual, the shoulder pads look decent. The little charms they've got, whilst it does, again, I don't know why it made me think of the Rasmus, but it did. The little feathers and stuff, I quite like. It is adding that extra bit of personality. To be honest, I've always seen Raven Guard as being less inclined towards that sort of thing, but I don't know why. That could just be, a misinterpretation on my part, but I've always thought of the Raven Guard as being a bit less likely to carry like these personal trinkets and charms and so on. They are masters of stealth, and they are, I feel, more utilitarian than some chapters, so I don't know how much of them I'd actually use, but if you want to use them, and if that's not something that you particularly feel, which is entirely, valid. I don't know where I've got that idea from. I might just be talking out my arse. Let's face it happens often enough. But I don't know if I'd use them personally, but I would absolutely grab these for a successor chapter if they were a bit more superstitious, so to speak. I think because it does have that superstitious look to it, to my eyes anyway, that might be one of the things that's put me off it a little bit, but I don't know. Just me. I do love the beakies. That's excellent. Not so keen on the other heads. But the rest of it is fine. The Iron Hands one, I think, is my favourite of the two. They look proper cool, don't they? They've got the cog work on the shoulder pads. You've got some of the chains. I have to admit, I think certain icons, like the Iron Hands one, I think with the Raven Guard, for me, there are certain icons that like you can get away with just being a transfer and they still look just as good as an actual like embossed, carved symbol. The Iron Hands one, I always feel like it needs to be bulky and raised out, so that's immediately making me happy. You've got like the reinforcement studs on some of the shoulders, which I really like. The little chains and stuff, I like those as well. The pressure gauges and things are weird, but I still quite like them. I'm just not, I don't know, I'm just not sure what they're for more than anything else. But it feels a little steampunky in a way, which, if you like that sort of thing is, perfect. But I don't know, I'm kind of back and forth on a couple of the little trinkets that they have. But I do really like the helmets. Like the bulked out extra cable and like the kind of I like the helmets a lot, and even for somebody who doesn't like bare heads on models, which I don't, I do like the heads for the Iron Hands. They do look cool, like properly bionic, which is exactly what you want. And of course the return of the metal mechanized hand, always good. It feels a little bit closer to the older Iron Hands upgrade sprue. Is it even a sprue? No, I think it might be resin. Actually, that old upgrade pack. Either way, it feels very reminiscent of that, which is, to me, a positive thing, because I did like that upgrade pack. Whatever material it was good. So, we also have, obviously, we've seen Shrike recently. God bless him with that hair. The important thing is this dude. It's Malkan Feros. That's probably not correct. Malkan Feros? Sure, why not? They really need to do like a little phonetic pronunciation thing at the end of the names, so you know what you're doing. Iron Father, obviously, as a master of the forge, he's able to repair vehicles. Good, as the battle rages about him, but he's a warrior first and foremost. So he's got an Artificer Heavy Bolter, which is shoulder mounted. Excellent. Gorgon's Wrath, which looks decent, and the Cogtooth Axe Harrow Hand. So yeah, the idea of a shoulder-mounted heavy bolter I still like. It's very silly, but that's why I like it. Although if you're going to wander about in what looks to be like reinforced Gravis armor in some areas, you can get away with it. You're not going to like tip over backwards. Let's be honest, especially when you have the counterweight of a giant axe. The one thing that I still am not sure about. I still don't like the platform shoe look, which admittedly, people have pointed out, yeah, that's on all Gravis armour, how have you not noticed this? I don't know how I haven't noticed it actually, but you are all correct. My Gravis captain that I'm looking at right now does have that same platform boot. I just never noticed it before. I think it's one of those things where you don't notice it until you do, which sounds like a stupid thing to say, but you get what I mean. You can look at the same thing, for years and then suddenly pick out a fresh detail and go, I didn't know that was there. This is one of those things. And I don't like it on mine either, or any of them. But it's only a small thing and easily fixed if you've got a bit of green stuff handy. The only thing that I don't like, really, is the claw. The claw at the top. It's weird. It's a weird claw, because instead of it looking like it's articulated and able to kind of move and lift, and so, it looks more like a crane situation, which I'm just not feeling still. To be honest, it's a very small complaint. You could easily fix that, and in fact, what I will do, because I will end up buying this guy, because my Dreadnought stupid army is run as Iron Hands, obviously, and actually having a Primaris, Iron Father to go with it. Why would you not do that? I'm going to change it up slightly. Just take the little pipe at the top, which the claw is hanging down from, saw that off, or cut it off. You might not need to saw it. It might be small enough that you could just use a little craft knife. I would then take the little chain bit off the top of the claw that it's dangling from, and then I would just attach the claw itself to the bit that I've cut the little U-turn pipe off, and that way it would just look like any other Tech Marine claw, which I just prefer the look of. I don't like the dangly thing that makes it look like a miniaturized crane. I'm not feeling that, but it is very, very easy to fix, and mine will be fixed in that fashion. Be interesting to see if he comes with a separate head with a helmeted option. I don't know if he will. It'd be kind of nice if he did, but if he doesn't, then it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I'm looking forward to actually getting hold of this, because, as I say, I've got like 15 Dreadnoughts back there, and at the moment I am using Tech Marines, but if there's a way of using a Primaris version of a Tech Marine, then I will take that, because I just like the big beefy look of the dude. And since 6 of them are Redemptors, it does feel a little bit fitting. Although there are going to be a couple of Chaplain Dreadnoughts joining them soon, so that'd be fun. So, yeah, that is the Iron Father. Still decent, but just that one change that I would make. And we're gonna see these guys as well. We've got the Eliminators and the Vanguard Lieutenant are on the way. But we've seen those before. What we haven't seen is more Ossiarch Bonereaper stuff, which I know it's Age of Sigmar, but this stuff is so mad. Like, look at this. Look at this thing. How can we not talk about this? What the hell is that? It's so mental. Okay, let's just quickly have a look and see what he's called. I always forget. So yeah, it's the Ossiarch Bonereaper stuff, and that is the Gothizar Harvester. Not sure what Gothizar, I'm not sure about in terms of naming conventions, but look at this thing. It's mental. It's absurd. Like, this is the thing I quite like about Age of Sigmar. Every now and again, Games Workshop will just come out with something that I look at and go, what are you on? What is happening? This is one of those examples. When they did the Ideneth Deepkin, that was one of those moments where I was just like, I don't know what the hell is going on in the Age of Sigmar department, but why have you made deep sea elves, and why are they riding sharks? I'm here for it. I'm absolutely on board, 100%, yes, give me more. But still, what the hell? This is very much in line with that. So it's a construct which is made up of like lots of bones, and it has a similar look to like the Morghast model, and all of the Nagash stuff that's got a bunch of green glowy skulls encased in skeletons. Very good look, timeless classic look. It's just mad. The balance of it is really weird. It's got this big long tail with what looks like a clenched fist at the end almost. Only walks on 2 legs, even though it looks like it could do with a few more, to be totally honest. There's a little lad at the bottom, like sticking out of his crotch, which we'll take a closer look at in a minute. The little lad, not his crotch specifically. So it carries a bunch of like bone parts and stuff in the back of it. By the look of it, it can make other warriors, so it like kind of forges them together in somewhere in there. It makes other stuff, I think. 2 arms like facing back to put the stuff into the little cart bit that is like overbalancing the back. It's such a weird model. I really like it. This is the thing, I can acknowledge that it's properly bizarre. It's really mad. Like, it's really out there. But I still actually really like it, despite the fact that I'm looking at it going, what even is this? What is happening? I don't know what's happening, but I like it anyway. I don't know whether I should, but I do. So there you go, yeah, so there's, as you can see, little dude just, in the crotch area, hanging there. He's got the torso, he's got his head sticking out. It's almost like a pelvis skull that he's got going on. It's so weird. It's such a weird model. It's such a weird model. Why do I like it as much as I do? It doesn't make any sense. Oh, God. It's just so odd. I said, was this designed by the same person who designed the Skitari, the Iron Chicken? What's it called? Oh, I forgot the name of it. Not the Dune Crawler, the other one. Strider? The thing, the tall gangly thing where there's the dude riding it, but then there's a little guy like underneath between the legs with like his the same person, maybe same person, got like a little dude in the crotch between the legs, responsible for both of those sculpts. This one and the Skitari one, maybe. It's possible, isn't it? It's possible. Look, can you just bend down? Look, there's a sword right there. Just bend down a little bit so I can pick it up and I can help. It's so weird. So weird. I like it, but it's so weird. I actually like that colour scheme a bit more. That looks a bit dark, a bit more grim, a bit more like horrific. That looks more horrifying to me, which I think I prefer more than the other one. What a mad model. God damn. So there's also the Immortis Guard, which I do quite like. Yeah, I do quite like those. Yeah, I think my favourites so far are still the big four-armed dudes and now that Gothizzar Harvester. But I do like these. The heads are maybe a little bit small on some of these models, but I can't tell whether I dislike that or not. I think I'm okay with it for the most part. Yeah, the overall look I'm happy enough with that I'm not too fussed about the size of the heads. The fact that they've clearly got helmets with like crests on is helping a lot with the overall presence in the the upper part of the model. And I do like the weapons, but I do like those style of weapons anyway. To be honest, these Ossiarch Bonereapers are they're weird, but for me they're weird, but in a good way. I actually, as I say, I'm not too keen on the rank and file down there on the bottom left, but the bigger units I'm actually enjoying quite a lot. Even if that catapult is a bit absolutely mental. For the most part, I am liking them. And it looks like there is a few other things on the way for these. I mean, I obviously don't know a huge amount about what the death faction for Age of Sigmar has currently, just because if I don't play it, outside of having the Nighthorn signed of Soul Wars, I don't have really anything else other than a couple of Morghasts, which I bought for other purposes anyway. But there are some things in there that don't seem 100% familiar. In fact, it could be that there's quite a few things in here that are brand new. I mean, we've got the big dude in the middle, which we've already taken a look at. Guys with two arms and the shields there. We've got the Harvester down the bottom right. The rank and file in the bottom left. It looks like there's some sort of like new tall walky guy in the far bottom left there. I think the guy on the steed in the middle left is also new, because that thing looks a little bit like what the Stormcast Eternals get. Is it a Star Drake or something? I can't remember. There's definitely a new thing in the middle right, because it's a guy in like a walking bone platform. It looks like he's sitting cross-legged and he's got some like spirits coming out of him. Again, looks mental and weird in all the best ways. And I'm trying to work out whether next to the forearm guys, in the very background on the left, between the four-armed dudes and the crazy catapult, there is definitely some guy on a steed there with a bunch of like spirits wailing around underneath him, but I can't tell if that's new or not. It looks very Nagash, his helmet, though. But yeah, I mean, this seems to be gearing up to be a pretty serious release. There's a lot of shit coming out for these guys, and it all looks mental, but in like the best possible way for me, anyway. as always, it's just my personal love of just weird and creepy stuff that's breaking through to the surface with these guys. But yeah, I don't know, they're looking interesting. They are genuinely looking kind of interesting. They look like they might be not too difficult to paint as well. Like, I know there's a lot of bone, I know there's a fair bit of arm, and you've got like the skulls on the inside, but honestly, the Morghast that I painted a while ago, before contrast was around, that was actually surprisingly easy to paint. Like, for the type of model it is, I managed to knock it out in one afternoon, which is not too bad. I feel like this is a faction where I could pretty easily approach painting a good bulk of them fairly quickly and using not particularly complicated techniques. If I did the same thing I did with this thing, which is just to use washes and pretty much nothing else, I mean, you could batch paint these in like a week, probably. Oh, it's dangerous. It's dangerous, isn't it? Dangerous looking at new stuff. Dangerous. Even if you don't play the game, which I don't. I'm like looking at it going, oh, well, actually, I think you'll find I could paint that quite quickly. Oh, yeah. Ridiculous. It's as if I don't have enough shit going on already. What the hell is wrong with me? Anyway, that's the Iron Hands and Raven Guard and Ossiarch Bonereaper stuff. What has been shown off. A nice, lengthy, rambly 20-minute video for my first one back. I was away last week, as you may have noticed. You may not have done, actually, because I put 4 videos out anyway, but I recorded them the week before and set them to go out scheduled whilst I was away, so I didn't want there to be a break in content for the channel, so I just recorded like way more than I would do normally in the space of 1 week, and then brought them out as I was on holiday. So yeah, first video back, some cool stuff to look at. Let me know what you think of all of those things in the comments down below. I hope you had a good week. I don't know whether any of you went away, but if you did, I hope you enjoyed yourselves. And if you didn't, then that's fine too. And I'm sorry if you went to work, because that's not fun. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of all that stuff in the comments down below. There's, of course, various things to click, Patreon video, subscribe, all that stuff. And there is, as always, a link in the description down below, an affiliate link for Element Games, if you're going to buy some 40k or Age of Sigmar stuff. If you use that link, I get a little something for sending you that way. You save some money on your 40k stuff, between 15 and 25% typically. Also, Bolt Action and X-Wing and God knows what else, all tabletop games essentially, along with paints and supplies and all the tabletop things. You can click that if you like. It's a nice way to support the channel, which requires almost no extra effort at all. Not spending anything extra because you're going to buy that stuff anyway. Yeah, it's a thing you can do if you would like to. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Toodaloo.